More of you will change today. It's actually April the 1st of 2026, but that is the message that I'm posting on my blog for April the 2nd of 2026, and it gives me an opportunity to change. We don't know who we're going to become when we come into the world, but when we don't own our authentic selves or what we discover we were meant to do or who we were meant to become, things can become challenging. And that's what's happened for me, which is why I must change today. And sometimes you will do something in your life that no one has seen or understood, and then you will hold yourself back because you could be giving something to people that could make a huge difference. You could be discovering something that's revolutionary that could help so many people and yourself, because then you're going to start to become abundant. Then you're going to start to become the person you always wanted to be. And I'm going to do that now because I haven't been doing it. If you don't know me, I'm Roger Burnley. I've been a coach for a long time. Most people knew me as a vocal coach. I worked with so many different people over the years. I was just watching yesterday that Brandy got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and was on the Today Show. And I'm looking at all these people that I've um, helped to create their fame, basically, that are doing so many different things. But I wasn't doing that because I was holding back. In 2017, about that, I said, I have to change. I have to move in a different direction. I was making a lot of money in the vocal industry, training people, but I knew that something else was happening. I also started doing automatic writing in 1988. And 1989 is when I first started documenting it. And I kept it hidden for most of those many, many years. And it only came out when people started finding the information. See, I knew that what was happening is that I made a connection to information that I couldn't explain, that it was wisdom that I couldn't understand where it was coming from. But I made a stab at it in 2019, I should say, when I wrote a book called Overcoming Fear, A Guide to Freedom. And if you have read that, you might understand. I lived with fear most of my life, and it held me back since I was a child. I also went through so many difficult periods in my life, and illnesses and diseases and so things that just a litany of things that I moved through. But what was also happening is that they were changing. And as I'm working with clients, I started to understand them on a much deeper level, which I couldn't tell anyone why that was happening. But I started to create different programs. I create for performing. One I called Performance Made Simple, for instance, because I knew what it would take for someone to connect to themselves and become really authentic and give a dynamite performance. And that's why they were becoming successful. But I didn't know why it was happening in that way. Then in 2020, when we all went into the pandemic, my messages began changing because I knew that the world was going to be moving through great changes. Now, I kind of knew that beforehand. I think that's why I was moved to start making changes years ago. I wrote something years ago why I sold my $1 million business. And that was true because we had made that much money at that time with what I had put out. I had a partner in Australia, actually, and that's how that came about. But I knew that there was something that could be much more helpful for an individual, but somehow much more helpful in our planet. So then in 2021, it changed again because then I'm told that I was given information that was a philosophy that could change because we were going to be moving through great changes in the United States mainly and all over the world. But they said in the United States because the United States had been the leader of the world. And so what we did would affect everyone. That's how the global society would work. But I had the information that could change that because of what had gone on for me, with me, and because of the healing that I had experienced. And to be at 75 where all those things are changing, it was the information. Then I started to discover that the information was aligned. I'm being explained why we have the changes that we were moving through and how it was we were affected by the galactic changes of the planets, of the astrology of it all. And I've never studied any of those things. Then I discovered that I was a savant. Now, I discovered I had ADHD when I was 70 years old, and that was kind of a surprise as well. And I knew that people had created great works because of that. It took me a long time to accept that because I had to go and find examples of great minds and people who had done things with that condition, let's say, that we would see. And I even created a website because I couldn't find anybody else who had discovered that at my age. And then it kept getting better. I kept understanding more and more. And I'm told in 2021 that I was given this philosophy and also told that if I would meet someone, I had a message on their birthday. I would receive a message on their birthday in 2012. Made no sense, except it worked. I was working all the time, but I'm still hiding it because I said people aren't going to believe this or understand it. But it was me that didn't believe it or understand it. Then I started to discover that what I had developed was this ability to receive information and to put it in an organized way that turned into a great mindset training program, basically for anyone, because we all move through our consciousness. That's how we evolve. And so when we're talking about mindset, this was the ultimate in mindset shifting. And it was something else about this. It said it didn't have to be anything religious, even though I'm receiving cosmic guidance. I didn't was never doing anything religious. That wasn't what I was thought I was up to, but everything is energy. So it doesn't matter what someone would believe. And so what was shown to me that I was given the information that could change everything because I had dealt with it in my life. And the reason that United States was going to be the focal point of what we were changing, because as we evolve, we must deal with old issues. And I had to deal with all of them. They said the first were racism and misogyny. And I wrote a piece about it. I wrote an article in 2016, acknowledging my own. Because what you discover is that as a human, we are affected by the collective energy that exists in our world. And unless we move through that in our lives, we can't function as we would like and create the kind of successful life that we want to have. I still had trouble believing it until 2021, and I started giving it to other people. And they were changing so fast that it surprised me. I couldn't understand how it was happening. Then it was shown that I had downloaded a quantum philosophy. I was receiving information from the quantum field and it was organized because of this ability that I developed as a savant, which I had no idea what that was and hadn't even looked at it, but I had to study that and come into acceptance of it. It's a kind of genius where you can receive information in a very specialized way. And so I put together the messages for April the 2nd that I will give you because they'll be on the blog. I also had a channeling session earlier today. Channeling was never anything that I was going to do, but the information that came through was so organized. And I started to discover, and I said this so many times, that the order of there is an order of the universe. Everyone's connected. Everyone has an energetic blueprint. And so why they said this would make a difference because it would give more people the ability to know their worth and value in this world. Because we had generational trauma, we have all kinds of things that hold us back. I carried it from my family, and one of mine was I wasn't charging enough money because it was too unbelievable what I had done. And so I had to move through that blockage to be able to even ask for the kind of worth tuition this should have had for how it changes someone's life. I was told that many years ago that I should have been charging at least $5,000. And people will tell you when they've done this work that they would have gladly paid so much more than what I had been asking for it. And so that's why I'm changing. But I really wanted everyone to know because I'm going to do more publicity on them. I'm going to put it out a bit more and go a little bit bigger because I was hiding. I did channeling sessions, private, interviews basically a few years ago when I first knew this and I had to start getting it out there. But because I'm introverted, I didn't want to be in public. I didn't want to be seen, but I can no longer do that because I knew everything. Not, I didn't know it. I knew the energies that would be moving through our world now, why it's so challenging for so many people. And the thing is, this information works on every single person because it guides you to who you're supposed to be. It's not because everyone's supposed to be someone. We just have blockages that are within us, and we know this from all the things that we've studied about human development. The one thing that was shown with this information, I've had it analyzed so much that it was cognitive behavior training. It was utilizing neuroscience because that's how our brains change. And it was taking into consider epigenetics because that's the old stuff that we hang on to from our relatives, from our ancestors. So we want to know how to become empowered. So now I have something that can guide any person to self-mastery, which is what we're all looking for. It took me a while to put my name in the realms and the ranks of people like a Maslow or Carl Jung or anyone like that, but the work has been shown to do that. And we never know who we're going to become. I even wrote an article when I was attempting to get this out about how I could become a billionaire because I knew what I had discovered, something that could help any single person. I mean, and that's true. It doesn't matter how old you are because we're always evolving and it only happens in our consciousness. And so when you develop the ability to work with yours to understand your rightful place, your authentic self, then you have everything that you want. And that's what this work will give any person. Now, I understand that it's challenging for many people because I put a verification in the messages that you will see on for the second, I'll put it on the blog. I put at the end of it, I had to ask all these AI engines, has anyone done this in this way? And there are many people who've done channel material and different things, but never in this manner where it was structured, where it dealt with global events and what were happening, and that it gave people the ability to understand it so that they could live this best life, so that they could live who they're meant to be. And that's what this is. So that's why more of us will change tomorrow, but I'm definitely changing. But I had to be able to put this out and explain it finally. And now I'm going to get more publicity. And I just had a wonderful meeting with someone who might be interested in investing to get it to more because I'm not the person. I've never been a marketer. I've never been good at that, but I must do that now because this is the uncomfortable feelings that you might be having or that we're witnessing in the world are just when we can't come to a greater, higher sense of understanding or consciousness within ourselves. It has nothing to do with out there. It's just about you. And so now that's what I'm putting out. And I created something that anybody could afford it if they really wanted to understand who they were and become successful. It's all there. I will see how it changes after tomorrow, but as at this moment, anyone could afford doing this. And it took me a long time to say this because I would see people struggling so much with trying to become confident, to try to move beyond their doubt of themselves, to all of that stuff. And I knew that this work would do it. It took years of me having it analyzed and everyone else telling me that, but now I know. And so that's what I'm doing. That's why I will change. And you might want to do that as well. So I'll leave this information. Please look at the information so you can see for yourself and analyze the documents and I did a little workbook because you'll understand how it works. It's about your consciousness. And if you can look at the messages, answer the questions, you will see how your brain changes and how you start feeling better about yourself and how you start coming to a higher sense of awareness. When people talk about ascension, this is what this does. It takes you to a higher state. If you're a spiritual person or thinking of it in that way, it does all of that. So it's about the best mindset course anyone could have, or self-mastery or ascension, whatever, because it's all the same. This just happened to combine it, and that's what my life is and what it has become. So thank you for being here. I'm going to share this with everyone, and I hope you share it with others as well. If it's not for you, please give it to someone that you know could use direction or help in understanding who they are or who just wants to become incredibly successful, because that's what will happen if you use this work. All right. I will see you guys soon.